Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're in tune to Win FM 98.9 on your radio dial. It's beautiful Friday morning. Today is called not Freaky Friday, it's Forward Looking Friday. It's one of the last Fridays before the election. 7 more days before we see or you have a chance to make a decision of your lifetime whether or not you're going to vote for progress or we are going back to the same old, same old. At the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. It's a vote for your future or you want to relive your past. That's exactly what it is. So you have to make up your mind if you want to continue into where we are, where our country is moving forward, boasting the best economy, one of the best economies in the Caribbean, in the region, and could be compared internationally. We look at Sri Lanka and all of those other countries who are having some serious, serious problems. And we look at St. Kitts and Nevis, where people are trying to get here because of the fact that we have an economy that is second to none. So we have that decision to make on Friday, and we have to see what you're going to do. You're in tune to Your Views. Your Views is a program that is aired on Win FM every Friday morning around 10 o'clock. Your host is Sandra Creeley-Atherton, and this morning I have with me a guest. We are talking politics. It is a serious times. We talk about the silly season. We are now out of the silly season. We're in the season where we have to make a decision of our lifetime for our children's future, for our future because we are young, and for the future of this country. We know where we came from. We know where we are right now, and we don't have a clue where we're going if we make that wrong decision. So decision making is what it is right now. We have to seriously sit, stop listening to propaganda, do your own analyzing, evaluation, and see where you are right now and where you would want to be. See where you were 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and see if you want to go back to that same thing. So it's decision-making time. All we can do is talk. All you have to do, the facts are there, we present the facts. It's disappointing for me when I see people are going to really bring in propaganda machinery where they can actually try to fool you. And you know what the sad thing about it? When you look at some of the crowds, you realize that so many people are fooled, still being fooled, but it's what it is. It's called politics, politics. Politicians are who they are, deceitful, deceiving, and they will do anything to get in there. It's up to you to make that decision. There's some politicians, not all of them, because you, in all fairness, you see where some of them would have tried their best, but it's what it is. I think Kittitians, we are strange people. We talk politics 365 days a year. I mean, we've came out of an election in 2020 and we still feel like we're in election mode. We have always been in election mode. Talk shows are always talking politics. And so I think that is one of the reasons why the atmosphere of politics is always in the air, because Kittitians always, we are a political nation, and politics is something that we feed on heavily. But one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is start to reflect. Reflection is key. Good morning to my guest. His name is Weeks. Yeah, Weeks is a young man that I've seen who've gotten seriously involved in politics. Should I call him an activist? He's one of those who I am very much impressed with. You ask him information for me. Some people might think that he's very biased, but I think that he's very analytical. He looks at the situation, he's making his own evaluation, he comes to his own conclusion. And we have that right. I see where people want to support their party, and every time you decide to support a party that is not the ones that you're supporting, everybody decide to call you what they want to. It's not right. You have your right, and everybody else have theirs. And this is something that we have to start to do. We have to start respecting other people's views, because that's what it is. Wicks, welcome to Your Views. It's a pleasure having you here this morning. We are going to talk politics.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Listening public, good morning to Sanjo. Sanjo, thanks for giving me back my work. Because I realized,
Yeah, you lost your work.
I lost my work for quite some time, but it's good to be back, and it's good to be here again to actually talk the thing them and talk about politics and let we express ourselves and shed some light on certain things so people could understand things a little better.
It's a pleasure.
And maybe we might be here today to help people make that decision what they have to make on next week Friday, because next week Friday is D-Day.
Yeah.
And we are out of time, and we just have to understand that now is the time to make the perfect and the right decision to move the country forward, and who is best to move this country forward. So let's begin.
Yeah, you see, that's one of the good things about it. Sometimes people lack information, and I said earlier about people, the propaganda that is going around. We see all these fake news, which is sad because I see people are attacking people who are not public figures. They're people who are just supporting the party that they want to support. I've fallen victim. I'm not a victim, but I see where people would have done the same thing to me. It doesn't really bother me because you know what the truth is. But it is sad when people can stoop to those levels where they're going to try to defame people's character just because of the fact that they want to get into office. But people should not be looking at that. What I do shouldn't bother the public. It is what the people who they are voting for and putting in office, they're the ones who they're supposed to scrutinize and see whether or not they're the people that they want to get there. So when you start attacking civilians, innocent people who have just the same one vote like you, I find that is not right. But to the politicians, you fail to realize that when you attack one person, the whole family is affected. And so you can't be coming to my family and asking me to vote for me, and at the same time you are trying to break them and destroy my brother. So these are the things that we have to look
and
into.
you know, this is something I try to understand, right? That, you know, I mean, I hear all kind of silly things about weeks and, you know, weeks this and he ain't deserving. But I mean, my mother got, you know, 8 siblings. And imagine, you know, chastising one of them and you're going to the rest 7 and asking them to support you.
Exactly.
So how would that gonna go? I mean, we got to be so mindful and we got to try to, you know, do things the proper way. I don't mind ordinary people doing it because there will be people. But when it comes from the politicians, you got to wonder, well, you know, how are you going to talk to my brother and my sister now? How are you going to talk to my mother? I mean, you basically going to just energize my family to go out and support me because you're coming after me.
That's exactly what is happening. When you take my name on political platforms and you take them at press conferences, I have family too, and lots of it. And people, not just family, but people who support me and people who understand that when I go out and talk, I don't use propaganda. I speak the truth.
Yes.
They can be verified. I am not going to on people who are vying for positions. It's not people. They're not people oriented. It's about them. All of them are waiting to get into office and look after themselves.
And to show off,
We
you know, have a title. I mean, you don't get the idea, the impression that, hey, this is somebody who going to do hard work. I mean, we could call I could call a few names on the Labour team, but you know, I don't want to give them kind of recognition.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, you see them, you see them, you feel the demeanor, you understand that this ain't somebody who can go out there and work hard for me. This ain't somebody who can roll up their sleeves and actually go out and do the work. And it makes you wonder. You really had to think.
You look at what they're doing, publishing the peace program, the list of names that is on the program. We asked the question before in 2013, 2015. I remember doing Voices program, and the problem was when you ask about the long term, the short term, and the medium term plans for fixing the problem with the
Crime,
murders
yes.
and all the crimes, criminal activities that are happening on St. Kitts and Nevis. And they're always talking about a short term, medium term, and a long term plan. But what is the plan? We here have a plan where we now recognize that it has worked.
It has worked, and it is
has
still
worked,
working. Yeah.
and it's still working, where you put people on these programs. Again, if these people are not on the payroll or people are not getting any money, they'll be sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. So if the government is giving you some money, hope it is sustainable. That is not my problem. If they want to go along this route, then it's not my problem, because people, you fail to realize it's the citizens that are benefiting. They are benefiting whether or not they are criminals and they're on the peace program. They qualify because they're not working. You have to wait until the economy, because we just came off from a pandemic. There are lots of things that are not happening. People have been laid off from the private sector, have not yet been taken on. You have the PAP program that people will still print the list of the people that are on PAP. But these are programs that are absolutely necessary to ease some of the hardships that people are facing.
Yes.
It is not the government. It is not the minister. It is not Timothy Harris who's getting this money. It is not Len Harris who's getting this money. It is not Akila who's getting this money. It is the ordinary citizens that are getting the money.
And I don't know if their memory that short, but we could remember that these same persons on the program, these are the same persons who Rams didn't want hire, Valiamat didn't want hire, no private entity.
Exactly, they're human.
Even in government services, people didn't used to want to work around them because they feel like anything could happen.
Yes.
So now you come up with a program where they're going and doing a little bit of landscaping. Some of them even now look like they're asking to be assigned to person's private business. Like I have a dude from Shadwell, he there begging me for the longest while. You can't talk to somebody and who deal with the piece. And the piece I does to clean up with them and on the road. But I prefer to go with this dude because he does the printing and graphics and so on. I prefer to go there to learn something. And you'll be surprised the mindset that these people now starting to have.
I know.
And to see that, we still want to chastise them and we still want to put the information out there in the public domain so people could ridicule them. It make you had to wonder what the motive really are.
Let me tell you, I know there's 2 young men. They are on the peace program. 3, as a matter of fact. They're on the peace program. But these are young men wanting to come off.
Yes.
What he said to me is that he was saving his money because, when he goes to the bank is going to ask for a deposit. So he got somebody, and I am so impressed, he got somebody to do up a business proposal for him.
Right.
He had a minor problem, and because of that, he cannot get work. It's the reality that as long as you've been incarcerated, when you come out, there's no work for you. So what is the alternative? Is to continue with crime.
Right.
So if we decide to help you, give you some money where you can save, and there's some people, they don't want to go back there. They don't want to go back, and they want to make amends. I mean, some simple things that got him bad company, got him into a situation, and because of that, he was incarcerated. Now his whole life, he's human.
Exactly, and when you look at it, some people end up in this situation not because they're part of it, just because you're the wrong place at the wrong time, or somebody who are part of that life, and you and them get cool, you and them good from small days, and people start to watch you and target you too. So they never understand how this was like a cancer just spreading, and we actually finally put some chemo on the cancer, and now we had shrink it. And now we're working perfectly, but some persons, some political parties still got a problem with it.
Then you ask yourself.
We had the former minister in Grant who said he know nothing about the peace. And when you say this is I don't even want to talk about politics. It makes me sick to my stomach, and I haven't had breakfast, so it can make it even worse. When you listen to the lies that these people tell, they say one thing one time and they come back another time, and else. I can't understand how we, as intelligent people, are going to listen to these people and still vote for them. Yes.
How can you, who's supposed to be analytical, somebody who have been learned, and you look up to you and you hear the things that not you are saying it,
Yeah.
They are the ones who are saying it, and you're still going to vote for them. How can you, a person who's supposed to be learned, who has seen where the country is going, and then all of a sudden, because you hear some propaganda on the political platform, on social media, you have these propaganda machine. These people are being paid to do these things, and you are following them without you doing your own evaluation. It's never ceased to amaze me. Come back again to the peace program, and I'm saying this to all of the people who are vying for political office. These young people, and you might say there are other people on the peace, you don't know. You don't know what people's background, you're assuming. But if by chance there's some people who are there, they need it. Because these are people, they're preventing them from going out there and doing what the others would have done. So if you have a situation where you can't make ends meet, automatically you're going to lean towards a lifestyle of criminal activities. You have lots of young women out there who are carriers. They're the ones who are pushing and fronting for these young men. You don't have an understanding of what is happening. People sit in their homes and you're comfortable, and you don't have an understanding what young women are out there doing. They're the ones who are dismantling the weapons and are carrying them. For them come down. You have one piece, you have another piece. You don't know what is happening out there. You don't have an understanding of what young people are engaging in. Why? Because a lot of them who have left school, there's no jobs for them to do. We just came out of a pandemic. They are desperate. And we who are comfortable, all we do is ridicule. But at the end of the day, I thank God for Dr. Harris, because of the fact that he and whoever else, Nubian, who are the brainchild of this peace program, because of that, our streets are safer. Not only that, our young people are given hope.
And you ain't got to worry about your 18-year-old son getting caught up in the life, because practically the life ain't there no more.
Exactly. And I can't see anybody would go on a political platform and talk against this. Bring out a list. Why would you do something like that? Why? For political mileage? How many lives are you're hurting? At the end of the day, you're protected. I am not protected. I'm exposed. Exactly. You don't do that.
Some of these people use the same money to support their families.
And they don't have an understanding of that a lot of these people.
They do, but some people, you just gotta be real. Some people just don't care. Some people just don't care. Some people, it's all about what they want, and they'll do anything and go any, use any measures at all to get what they want, and that's what we're seeing today.
We see, I listen to, and I've been listening because I want to hear. I've been listening to the different, tuning into the political meetings that they're having, and Labour is the same old. It's just about cursing Timothy, and everybody wants to demonize Timothy. But how can you demonize a man where you would have left office, and you would have had 2 CBI money and SIDF money? We were in the hands of the IMF. We were selling land for that. I gave a guy a chance. I called him. I said, go to sustainable development. They said that they have the letter ready for you for piece of land. And let me tell you something, what touched me, and I still feel it, when he said, you know how long I've been trying to get this? I don't even care where I get the land. I am just happy to know that I get a piece. You know how long? He said, at least now I can say I own a piece of the rock.
How old is young man?
He's not even young. He's about in his mid-40s.
Okay, so imagine these persons up in Lagui to waiting for 30 plus years.
Exactly.
So imagine how they feel.
Exactly.
Finally, they could go downtown and go to electricity department, show the letter and get electricity. They ain't had to go by nobody to sign a paper or give them the letter to get electricity.
That's not all. You can use that land
and
go to the bank as collateral and get a house bill on it.
Yes, get a house bill on it.
People don't understand the importance of piece of land.
Yes.
I might sound like, I was a happy child when I applied for the piece of land and I got it. I was like, my gosh, finally. I mean, you could get a piece of land from government. You know how long you've been applying? You know how long? And now anybody can apply, and they know for a fact, give it some time. There are lands out there. Why? Because these lands were bought back. These lands were sold, not taken into consideration. We are not, it's sad that they're looking now and saying, oh, there's so many people out there don't have work. There's so many people, they're behaving like this government has been in power for the past 30 years. This government has inherited all of this. I mean, the previous government, the unity construct, they would have, under the leadership of Timothy Harris, he would have inherited all of this.
Yes.
You can't change, you can't undo 20 years of mess in 7 years, but he have done well.
Done well, hey, pretty good. I mean, at the end of the day, he record speaks for itself. I mean, we got the peace program, we got the poverty alleviation program, we got the assistance for families for kids with special needs. I mean, I have seen this man use a program like this step to actually take your child or children with disabilities out of your house, take them to a center. I mean, it was going on before, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to praise him for continuing it, and he take them to a center where they learn a skill, almost like a daycare.
Wow.
I mean, properly funded, they don't have to do anything, and at the end of the week, they get the little stipend so they could, help buy the whatever they need to sustain themselves.
No, I can't see you moving from a
Certainty.
life of certainty
to
one
uncertainty.
of uncertainty. Thank you. You're moving from a life of seeing where this is happening, you're benefiting, to a life where you know what happened then.
Yeah.
And you talk about on the leadership of a man who had all that experience into a leadership to somebody who doesn't have any experience
at all.
somebody who doesn't even understand what it takes to do certain things. People fail to realize, not because you're a medical doctor or not because you're a lawyer or not because if you're a doctor based on the field, it means that you can run a country. And I see that is what is happening. I've seen them ridicule the candidates for PLP, but let me tell you something. I have never been more impressed.
Very impressed.
Listening to these people, interacting
you feel like you just don't do talking to your neighbor.
An ordinary person.
Talking to an ordinary person. They got the ordinary look, they got the ordinary feel, they got the ordinary appeal.
And they understand.
They're not trying to fool you and make you feel like there's something that they're not. They just giving it raw.
And I have to appeal to some people that realizing that these people can't look after everybody one time.
Not one
because
time.
people are getting upset because they're not getting the attention.
Yes.
The programs that they've put in place where you have the home improvement program, but that can only go up to a certain point, and after a while it has to be funded.
But I can say something about these Mr. Harris and these programs are. And one thing I know for sure, that when these programs come on stream, they ain't about no election gimmick. It's about helping people and genuinely helping people. And I could tell you and I could attest, after any election, Timothy Harris will continue all of these programs.
Right,
It's just obvious, because it might not look so to you, but it's almost like a safety net.
Yes.
It's helping you to keep out a debt by having to go to the bank. It's helping you to keep out a debt by having to, contract a contractor who, you can't afford to pay, but you want some improvement done. I mean, it's a help. And I know, just like the roof repair program was only designed to be maybe like for 6 months, it ended up going on for about 3 years. I mean,
yes.
this other assistant program now that he has rolled out, I could see continuing long after the elections.
But let me tell you something. I have never seen I never see a leader, and I am not just saying it because people think that I am supporting PLP on the leadership of Dr. Harris, because I see what they can do, what they have done. I understand this man he understands poverty, and you can only fix it if you would have lived it. And I see he's a genuine Timothy Harris. Since he's been in office, since he's been a politician, he always walks on. It doesn't matter about constituency. He makes, and that is one of the reasons why PLP is such a fast-growing political party, because he meets everybody, he greets everybody, he listens to everybody. I mean, anybody has Timothy Harris' number,
yes.
And they tell you, well, I called the Prime Minister and I spoke to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister says, Sandra, one thing about him, boy, he don't care who you support. That's why I want to support him.
And ordinary people that just call you up and ask for these people number, like it's nothing they're asking you. You could it's alright for you to get it out. They'll be like, hey, you got a number for the Prime Minister, you got a number for Akilo, and it's like.
But it's nothing.
It's
Normally, some people say, I can't give out that number.
Let me ask for something.
But
no, I don't just say, see the number there.
And she said, Sandra, what happened when I called him? He answered me. I couldn't. She said, I could
you
not
give back a call, you feel good.
Yes, I said, but listen, like this young man said to me, he was trying to get something done, and it was urgent, and they told him that they have to have a discussion with the Prime Minister. That was his representative, and he said, you know what? He asked somebody for the Prime Minister's number, and he called the Prime Minister. Didn't expect him to get a call or answer. Mm-hmm. He said he didn't answer the phone. He said while he's sitting on there talking to his friend, he saw the number, the call coming in, and he was like telling his friend, boy, that's the Prime Minister on my phone. He called me back. He said, I was shocked. That the man called me back. Yeah. I said, why were you shocked? He said, because he's the Prime Minister. I said, but you're the one who put him in there.
Exactly.
And he's grateful. Exactly. Not because he's the Prime Minister. He's not higher than you. He's more of a beggar than you, because he has to beg you every time to put him in office.
Yes.
But people fail to realize, and that is one of the reasons why I admire this man. I don't know why people but you understand why he was being demonized, because of the fact he caused the Labour government position, their position in office. He caused that because he walked away from the corruption.
Yes.
I mean, people are talking about, Labour got rid of him, and then he went and he broke up unity. He didn't break up unity.
Yeah.
It was obvious, and this is what I can't seem to understand. People listen to the Honourable Sean Richards. They listen to Mark Brantley at the PAM convention.
Yeah.
They listen to the things that they said. He didn't want to be with the man because they want to do what they want to do, and he just wants accountability.
And if you listen to the PLP public meeting in Sandy Point last night, where Wendy Phipps endorsed Stacia Williams, she basically said, personal reasons. These people break up a government for personal reasons, and now here today asking you to put them back in.
And expect Wendy. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this one. Eugene Hamilton. It is sad how people are looking at him. It is sad how they are trying to assassinate his character.
Yeah.
This is a man who would tell you, listen, I am grateful. I see how my people are now benefiting under the leadership of Timothy Harris. What should I do? Deny them of the benefits by running to a party that I still love, but who wants to end progress
something that
in such a short time?
Good.
He said, you think it's fair for me to do this to my people? He said, I couldn't do it.
No.
He said, I'm Pam. But at the end of the day, I cannot vote for the candidate that they're putting forward because of what they stand
Right,
for.
and even if you he wanted to, he was thinking about doing it. Go back to your people and ask them a question.
Exactly. He said,
Go back
no
to your
discussion.
people.
You
Yeah.
make a decision about a whole party and
A whole government, not a party, a government, because they had the government.
And you make that decision on your own, and then people should respect you. You
Respect
have
you.
your own personal problems.
Yeah.
And so I must fight your own personal problems. Give up all of the progress, all of my people that I would have made promises to.
Yeah.
I mean, the man would have helped me. He said it. He would have helped. You go to him, and he would have everything you go for. He's going to give it to you.
Yeah.
You look at a person like Sidney Osborne, a man whom I respect, because I know Sidney's a no-nonsense person.
No-nonsense,
And
man.
when I
And
I
it's
had a
long time.
discussion with him there in Value Mart, and he said, Sandro, I don't think that Sean is going to make that mistake. And he did, because you have a personal problem. People are not looking at it. They don't know. And I know so much. And it's a pity because, you still don't want to say. And
Yeah.
the Prime Minister is not going to come out and say what happened because you work with your colleagues. These are your colleagues that you work with. They come out and they spill all of their guts because they're trying to blame somebody. My mother always said empty vessels make the most noise. Because you're trying now to put the blame on somebody to divert attention from you. And you break up a union that was doing so
That the people
well.
wanted.
The people wanted, and the people were
wanted.
benefiting from it.
Yeah.
So you don't care about what the people want.
Yeah.
You want to give the people what is going to be beneficial to you.
To you.
And that is the big problem, Weeks.
Yeah.
It's about you. And until people recognize this, the decision, and you know what hurts me? I listen to some of Pam's supporters. And even the Labour supporters, and they say, man, this shouldn't have come to this, they should not have come to this. Why? I mean, I'm still upset with Sean. But yet still, you're following him.
Yeah.
So how could you, it perplexes me. How could you know?
Yeah, and people want me mad because, everybody, me and Sean, we used to be cool. I would say used to because,
As my big friend?
Yeah, because he gone, he went, he gone my way. I mean, he always know where I stand. I was a PLP, I am a PLP, he's a PAM, and he know that from day one. But, I mean, people be like, oh, but you shouldn't be objective. I mean, you gotta tell people you friend them, even you friend them when they're wrong. You gotta tell them
that's what make you a good
when
friend.
they're going down a wrong path. You gotta tell them when what they're doing ain't making sense. Whether you do it privately or publicly, you gotta say it.
Exactly.
You gotta say it because that's how people respect you.
And that's why I said, Weeks, that after this election, I'm done with politics. If people understand the heart of politicians...
People ain't gonna love us, though.
Let me tell you, I'm done. Let me tell you, if you understand the heart of some of these politicians, when you know certain things, I mean, you've had discussions, and you understand, and then you listen to these politicians on the platform behaving as though they're victims, and they're holier than thou, it upsets me. It makes me sick to my stomach when you're going to talk to me, you're going to tell me certain things, and you expect me to follow you after knowing your intentions, what your intentions were, using certain language, and you expect me to still follow you. If only people would know. I listened to Matt Brantley talking about even if he have to take the government to court, using these political gimmicks about Davis getting their fair share. They're processed.
When he know that that's far from.
It's far from it.
That's
Nevis
impossible.
has not been, and he knows that they have not been contributing to the consolidated pool. They have not been consolidating their taxes.
Yeah.
Nevis knows that, but at the end of the day, he was getting.
He
but
knows
he's
that.
using
he
this.
Knows that, he knows that.
Okay, Nevis is not getting their fair share. What is Nevis's fair share? But he has gotten $400 million, and divisions didn't know about it.
Didn't know about it.
So who was he using? Who was he fighting? On whose behalf was he fighting?
Yeah, I mean, we saying $400 million like
But
it's $400.
I'm telling you, it's like normal. It's like nothing.
that's a lot of money
And then
for a
he-
small island with about maybe like 11,000 persons.
Yes, and then he gives the impression, I used to use that money to do this, and I used to use that money to that. So what are you in there for as the premier? You have to have a right to the people. You have to come up with ways and means to keep your
make
economy
money,
going. You
to
have
make money.
Exactly. You should not be dependent wholly and solely on CBI money. CBI money is supposed to be a bonus. Well, what have you done as the premier? What what programs have you come up with? I hear him talking about, Sinkers do not pay the surcharge, the fuel or surcharge in electricity, but in Nevis they have to. But you are the premier.
Yeah, put something in place.
You have to put something in place. Nevis has its own
reduce
island
some
administration.
tax or something.
Exactly. Nevis has its own island administration. So therefore, Nevis, you supposed as the premier, you supposed to come up with ideas of how you are going to relieve Nevisians of that extra financial burden. Taking into consideration that a lot of these Nevisians, a lot of people have been laid off. Remember, Four Seasons had a big problem because Nevisians work. Four Seasons is Nevisians' bread and butter.
Yeah.
You still have Nisbet Plantation, it's closed. There are lots of people in Nevis that are still unemployed. And you ask yourself the question, well, what are your program? What plans you have? And these plans, if you read the manifesto, it's the same plans that they would have from the beginning and still have not yet been touched. They don't have to write or get up with any ideas about getting a manifesto together. They use the same thing because it is used to fool people. And that is why I say it is sad.
Yeah.
It is very sad. When you're going to use these nice programs that you know they're not sustainable. You're in a situation right now that you couldn't even pay a 10%, and you blame it on St.
You blame it, yeah.
What St. Kitts has to do with it? And as a Nevisian, I have a problem with that. Because if you are the Nevis has its own island administration, you are the premier. Lucky for you, you were the premier, and at the same time, Minister of Foreign Affairs in the federal government. So you in the cabinet, you must come up sometimes and say, man, come on, Tim, man. There's certain things that we're supposed to be doing in Nevis, but Timothy cannot go into Nevis and make any decisions, but you can come and you have the power to tell him this is what you want. And you were getting it. He said it.
Yes.
He was the one who said anything he asked for, he was given.
So what's the issue?
The issue is he doesn't want to even account for it. So you're asking for things Nevisians do not know, because see what he does? After the budget, you say how much money you want. Why? Why do you go outside of the budget and ask for money? Why are you hiding that? Why are there no paper trail? So you write a letter to Tim and you tell him how you feel and you have the discussions. Nevisians don't even know that they were getting this kind of money from St. Kitts until greediness stepped in and it became public knowledge.
That's how it does always be. I mean, when you feel like everything is covered and then you can go raise up the ants.
Criminals always leave a trail. They always leave a trail. And so this, and now, I listen, and when you listen, people say, oh, you know what I like about the Premier of Nevis is that he's eloquent. He speaks well, and that is the problem. He speaks well, but he does not act.
No substance.
This man has no substance, and that is what I found. I remember when I started to write about him, everybody was upset. How could you write about a person who's part of the unity construct? And I said to them, they are traitors on board, and you need to examine the horn. These are people who are in there who had ulterior motive. I'm looking for the word, and it's just they who had ulterior motives. And you saw it and you wrote about it. I remember I was cursed out by a politician mother who says, oh, you're part of the unity construct because I don't stand for nonsense. Not because you're part of the construct and you're doing nonsense. I am going to write against it.
But you see, the funny thing is that it was always okay for them to say what they felt about him.
But I couldn't say
Harris,
what I felt
but you
about
can't say it's about anybody else.
Oh, Sandra, you're Pam.
Yeah,
but Pam do nonsense. I don't support Pam because I am a Pam. No, I supported them because of the policies and what I liked about them. But when I see that these things that I like about them and I believe in them, I saw that it was opposite. And I took off my blinders and realized, no, and I decided I'm not going to do it anymore. You vexed with me? So then I'll be a hypocrite. I am not going to support somebody who's doing wrong, knowingly that they're doing wrong, and support them. I can't do that.
Right.
I can't. When Timothy Harris shows me otherwise, definitely.
Exactly.
I pledge no allegiance to anybody.
I keep on telling the people this, and I have not seen anything to make me pivot from PLP. Until I see that, I'm staying put.
Weeks I've been asking, give me some real reason.
Give me some reason. Give me a reason.
Oh, yes. He took the PLP money. How much was it? Nobody seems to know. I went to a lady who was part of PLP. She said, I asked the same question. How much money? Nobody seems to know. But it is there. You see what
even those making the claim and the charge don't know.
How much it is, they don't know. But the question is, because they are all, when you look at the people who would have left, listen, let's examine this one. I really want to. We had the Douglas Watleys, we had the Big Lies, we had the Dwyer Astafans and the Sam Condors, you had Terry. They all came and they talk about labor. they said what Labour was and Dr. Douglas was, and under the same leadership of Labour. And it was all about, I had personal discussions, and when you realize what the problem was, it was about themselves. And I made a statement to one of them, and I said to them, let me tell you something, I am not in here fighting people's personal vendettas. I am here to see how poor people are going to benefit.
Yes.
That is why I want to see a government who's going to look after poor people. Poor people have been poor for too long.
Too long.
They have been struggling.
And soon as we start to, bridge the gap, they got a problem with it.
Yeah, they don't.
Look at it, because you see people, they're talking about the peace, they're talking about the PAP, they're talking about, it's shameful that we had to come to this. But they don't tell you that, hey, yeah, they got some of the members and friends who are a part of our organization collecting 10,000 a month to do legal work, when the same organization have a legal aid on staff.
Exactly.
Doing the same job.
This is not only that. You have people there. Some of them are upset because they wanted to facilitate They wanted facilitators, but the government have to pay them $100,000.
$100,000.
A person is complaining that his salary is supposed to be $24,000 because Douglas paid his then person in the same position that kind of money. And these are the problems. And so I must fight your personal fight.
Yeah, personal fight.
Where poor people.
So they're basically trying to say that I want what I want. And at our cost.
Yes, and poor people. So when you're getting those kind of big monies, what's going to happen? You know that he's not paying all of these big monies, and he decided to take, that step out away from them. You're going to call me whatever I want, but look who's benefiting: poor people.
Exactly.
You can get programs that are sustainable because you don't have to pay this group of 10 or 11 all this big money, because that's what they are. A lot of them who are hovering behind these parties, a lot of them who are upset is because of the fact that they're not getting the monies that they used to get. It's not because they feel for poor people. Listen to them. And that is one of the reasons why Timothy Harris is demonized. Because Timothy Harris is a poor people government. He's a poor people. He's a leader who comes up with ideas and plans so that the poor man can benefit. And look at what you're doing. You're exposing it. You're going to tell me, I don't believe in the PAP program. Give them a washing machine, give them a machine, a sewing machine. So if they want to sew, they can go ahead and sew.
But how are we going to get to sew without the training?
Exactly.
Because even if I is a landscaper, or maybe even if I just do some form of landscaping, without the proper training, how am I going to know what to do?
So
without the proper education in terms of balancing my book and knowing how to create a ledger and organize my ledger so that my business could be successful, how am I going to get to know? You just give me things and then bam, in 2-3 months down the road, the business failed because I know how to manage the money.
Okay, a man who wants to be a landscaper, let's give him a weed eater.
Yeah.
So where am I going to get money from to buy the gas?
The gas.
How am I going to get just walk into anybody's yard and start to cut?
The string.
12 of us have weed eaters in the same area. So who do what and how do...
Exactly.
They fail to realize, and just like I said, give me the money and let me decide. That's what Mark said. Give me the money and let me decide what I want to pay. It's the same thing. Let the people decide the areas that they want to go into. And I said, if you would evaluate a lot of these young men who do not want to go back in the gang, they wanted to get out. I have spoken to a lot of young people. I do a lot of talk. People, I don't know why they find me, and people feel like they could talk to me and I can help. I don't know why.
That's
it's
how it
sad,
is. That's how it is.
It's just maybe it's my calling.
Just embrace
exactly.
it.
I have embraced it. And these young men would say to me, besides it, no, I don't want to. People think that I want to be, is my friend, and because I associate with my friend, this is why people are after me. I don't want. When the peace program came in, you know how happy these young men were that they can walk from Newtown up to the village now,
to the village,
and they can go all over. Understood the problems that these young people were having. These young people still walking around the street half crazy.
Yeah.
Why? Because they smoked themselves to a stupid. They were having issues, and we ridiculed them. Now we have hope.
Yeah.
We have a government who would have provided hope, not just hope, but a way out for these people. This is the short term.
Yeah.
Give it a chance. The medium term and the long term is yet to come. And after a while, you're going to wean them off of the peace program, and they're going to have other things to do. If the program is properly managed, when these young men find something substantial to do, then they will be weaned off the peace program. All of the programs are not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be there permanently.
Yeah.
After
just
you would
to
have,
get you from point A to point B, and then you move on.
And you move, they wean you off.
Yeah.
The program has to be properly managed. Give the government government a chance so that they can put people in place where they can manage, so people can properly manage the program. So people who are on PAP that you think should not be on PAP, give them a chance to go and do the investigations and decide.
Proper assess
listen,
them, yeah.
you should not be. But you can't sit on the side and say a person should not
be
on
on
PAP.
it,
A young
you know.
woman who has
I
no
mean,
father for her children,
but
and she has 4 children at home.
And not only a father, you got persons who right now, cancer patient, persons with underlying issues, struggling to buy medication. You're trying to say they can't be on PAP because they work for over $3,000. I mean, yeah, I could be working for over $3,000.
But look
but
at my
then
expenses.
when then I done do my mortgage, and feed myself and feed my family. Sometimes some persons just leave with $400. There are people coming to tell me that. Sometimes you just leave. I only left with $400 a week, so coming from this month to the next.
But they're doing well.
And they got medication to buy because of the illness.
Exactly.
I mean, they deserve to be on the program.
I know this guy who's on hemodialysis, and I feel for him because we have not yet come with the national health scheme, and he has to pay. And I think it's $400 or $400 per. I think it was 800 or some amount, but
the government slash it.
Yeah, so he's now $400 every time he goes on the machine. $400 every time you go on the machine, and you have to do twice per week. Yeah. That's $3,200, and your salary is basically $2,100. How are you going to manage?
Exactly.
And people outside there who are doing well, who do not have an understanding of the hardships that a lot of people here are going through.
Of course.
And these programs have done well for them. And you want to say because you see a man working for government, or he's working for government and he's on the PAP. Go and investigate. There are women, there are young women. Yes, there's a young woman I know. She has 3 children, no father, nobody to help her. She doesn't have a house. She said to me, she works at the factory, when she doesn't get her monies, at the end of the day, she has to pay her rent. She has her children to send to school. Yeah. She has to buy clothes and food. She says sometimes I come home is ramen. You're creating an unhealthy nation. Yeah. All of these children, they're malnourished because this is all that they can have. And so our government provides...
No pumpkin, no sweet potato.
They can't afford to buy it.
Yeah.
So the government provide a ramen is $1.95.
No man, you could them for $1.
$1?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know. And you give your child a food. All you want to know is that their stomach is full, not that they're nourished.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we sit here because we could afford to use that kind of money and go to a party or just go down the road and buy a round of drinks. And we think that is the whole world or the whole country can have that privilege like you have. So do not bash the PAP program. I was disappointed in Dr. Drew when he's talking about he's going to amend it. Mend what?
Yeah.
You don't know. You're coming from a background where you're a doctor. Your mother, family carried you up to the point that you went away to study.
Yeah.
You do not understand hardships. You came back as a doctor. So you know you're in the big league.
Yeah.
And so you could go around and buy a round of drinks and give to your friends. These are 1 year's salary for some poor people.
True.
And then you're going around and you're asking them for them to vote for you, putting you in a better position. And I asked the question, I'm going to ask again. Why doctors and lawyers want to go into politics?
Why doctors and lawyers feel that they are the only one qualified to go into politics? That should be the question.
But they're already in a big job.
A big job. You got a profession. Your profession is basically a service provider. You don't serving already.
Exactly. So you done serving. Go in there.
So what you want to go in there for?
It's a question I'm going to ask. I must go in the ring and
ask
see what's in there.
Ask the right persons.
Yeah, because they
answer. Because I baffled by it.
Yeah, you said you want to serve the people. Who can serve people better than the dog? And I'm going to say it again. I love Dr. Laws. Dr. Laws is a doctor, the poor people doctor.
Yeah.
Come get the same kind of status. Become the poor people doctor. A doctor, when poor people have problems, they can come to you. And instead of paying $100, they can pay $50 because you really care about the people.
Sometimes he said, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was asking, well, you got your wife and trying to feed.
Yeah, something he said, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't experience it already.
And that is, so I'm saying to you, you're in a position, all of those young men who were out there getting caught up in crime and criminal activities. This is where the lawyer's role. You do some pro bonos, you help them, and when you're done, you counsel them. What is better than that?
Counsel them.
That is a field that you should be
You know,
in.
some
What
people
you
just
want to
feel
go in
like,
politics
no, they
for?
just want to make you $15,000 and forget about you.
Yeah.
But the counseling is necessary.
Yeah, because there are a lot of perks in politics,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
And this is something that I just found out. I didn't realize that there's so much perks in politics. Well, I couldn't be a politician because
I gonna give you the whole country, so ain't for me.
that is one of the big problems. Well, they will kill me because I have
Yeah.
all kind of pap,
Yeah.
step,
Yeah.
walk, run.
Yeah.
I'm not porridge. I'll give them
Yeah.
cornflakes, all kind of programs
Exactly.
I would bring. And but we have to be careful. When you have decided this is not a joke, I see people riding on horses going to nomination day. What is that saying? This is a serious thing. This is a contract that you've signed between you and the people, and that is why I look at PLP and I listen to the things, their vision center, the contracts that they would have signed between them and the people.
Yes.
It is so. These are trendsetters. These are people who have a good understanding of what are the role of politicians, and you have people showing up on donkeys and riding on bikes and making a mockery of this whole thing. It's not supposed to be like this. This is a serious thing. It is a serious thing, and that is why I'm saying you have to start looking at people. Listen, there's no labor out there, there's no PAM out there, there's no PLP
Just
out
people.
there. You are humans. You're people who have a choice. You have a choice to choose the right people to run this country. And this is what we have to start looking at. You have to exercise your franchise and make sure when you do it, not because you used to or your mother supported a party. I'm laughing because my grandchild said to me this morning, I said, Amir, who you voting for? She said PLP. I was shocked because I didn't understand.
Your friend says she son does say PLP, but you know, and he died in the background he come from, but you know, he understands and he sees something different, and it's just amazing that when you look at the barrage of young persons who gravitate into this party, it tells you something.
It tells a lot.
I mean, it tells you, but basically in my constituency number 3, you know, I have seen the People's Labour Party grow significantly. And grow in the sense where you have a lot of young persons coming on board and want to be a part of, want to volunteer the service and them kind of things because they just feel like, hey, that's the new trend. So I mean, you know, let me just give me little to talk. I mean, when it comes to constituency number 3, we have a decision to make, and the decision there will be on August 5th, 2022, and you have to make a decision, and the decision is clear. Whether you support and vote for the People's Labour Party candidate in Akila Byron Nisbet, who has over 2 years shown you that she is ready and she is willing and capable to do the job in serving the constituents, or you're going to vote for somebody else who you ain't sure, who don't give you guarantees, who only make promises, who up to this day refuses to take part in any kind of social activities when it comes to persons and whatever they're trying to accomplish, or you're going to vote for somebody who you know, there for you, you could go and talk to every Thursdays, instead of somebody who closed the offices after an election cycle. I mean, we had a decision to make, and the decision is clear. You voted for a 5-year mandate from Akila Byron Nisbet. She got 2 years, 2 short years, and imagine look at what she has done in that 2 years. Suppose she had the 5 years, nobody at all would have doubts in constituency number 3, because everybody would have been touched, because that's the intention, and that's the purpose of the politician, to touch as much as your constituencies as you can, and not in a personal way, but set up programs so that everybody could benefit.
And that is what you have in Akila Byron.
Yes.
Akila Byron is running out of time.
Yeah.
And I, you know, somebody said to me, you see, I told you Timothy wanted a 3rd term. I said, no, he wanted 2 terms. His term was cut short, so right now he's completing his second term. And that's what people fail to realize.
Yeah.
Promises were broken, they were not kept.
Yes.
And people are trying to create an impression that it was Tim. It was not. We listened to the PAM convention. We saw what the problems were. Sharon Gopa made a statement, and silly people took it and put something to it. Didn't give the man a chance. He never defended himself. Up to now, he has not defended himself. People have a right to see things how they want to see it, but you have a choice to make, whether or not you're going to go back to that lifestyle or you're going to choose one that you've seen light, not at the end of the tunnel, but there's a light going, taking you through the tunnel. So let us make that decision, the most important decision of our lives. That's Friday coming. I would not have your views program during that time because people will be voting. So this is the last time I'm going to tell you this. I am not campaigning for PLP. I am talking what I saw, what I see. I am talking from my heart. I'm telling you the reasons why I am supporting this party, because I think it's a party for the future. So those of you who want to judge me, you have a right to do so. I am not judging you for the party that you're supporting. I am telling you the reasons why I'm here and why you should start looking in this direction.
Yes.
There is progress in this party. This is a leader who understands poverty and love poor people. And my time has come to an end. Use just that and make your own evaluation. Consult your conscience. Look for your children's future and not for your own personal benefits. It's about your children. It's about the future of the country. Next Friday, you have that decision to make. It's either you're going to vote for the hand, the hat, or the saw. In Nevis, it's the bottle and the hammer. We have to make that decision. We have to decide if we want our country to continue going into the or being the envy of most Caribbean islands, or we want a country that is going to take us back to the dark days of under the leadership of Dr. Denzel Douglas. If you want the IMF back in here, or if you want us, I don't know if they don't have much land to swap now, because I think Elrita would have given out all. And I have to praise that girl. She is the best. She understands what poor people need, and she supplies it. Watch no face. I asked her, and she said, "No, Sandra, this is not about giving PLP people anything. It's about giving every and anybody a chance." She watches no face. She don't care who you're affiliated with. She just find it is the right thing to do. And I want to take this moment to say how much I love Elrita Brown. She is a good person, and people are supposed to look at her for what she is, not because she didn't give you. You start to say that she's not, but she knows what she has to do. My name is Sandra Quiliatis, and we have come to the end of this segment. It was so quickly. Weeks, I appreciate you coming.
No problem.
It was a great program, and I think that people are supposed to have a good understanding of what this is. It's all about information, and I think that we would have given it. It's a weekend. People are partying. I think it's Culturama is in Nevis. I ask you all, when you're going over, make sure you exercise. You stick to the protocols. COVID is still a reality. Monkeypox is hovering on the outside over there, and we have to make sure that we wear our masks, sanitize, and we social distance. Stay tuned to Win FM 98.9. Voices is up next.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any